Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today's date is Thursday, May 8th, 2025, and I have some information for you from my sources about Cody Brown and Robyn Brown, and why, apparently, the rest of their family doesn't want anything to do with them. This information is from a source who was putting together the National Guard Nevada Service Memorial for Garrison Robert Garrison Brown, which was held towards the end of March 2024. As you might recall from watching the series, Cody was quoted as wanting to bring Garrison home and bury him in the dirt. Well, it seems this has reached someone who was also putting together the memorial, someone who was privy to all the information surrounding this cremation, this memorial service, and these wishes of the family. It is claimed that this memorial for the National Guard was something that no one wanted, except supposedly Cody. It was this plea, according to this source, that triggered the family so much that they contacted me with this whole story. It could possibly explain what happened at the funeral that McKelty suggested in an interview last year, that something happened between the funeral that led to the distancing on the part of the family to Cody and Robyn. It was suggested by McKelty that Cody behaved in ways that were troublesome to his family, and he has not apologized to any members of his family since. Things are, in fact, worse. Well, this was what allegedly happened. Garrison Brown, in case you know who he is, was part of the Nevada National Guard. Just like everyone else in the military, when people enlist, they have the option to draw up a will, power of attorney, and make sure all their military business is in order in the event of something bad happening to them. This is a typical process to make sure the person's next of kin, or whoever they are leaving behind, knows what they are doing. The U.S. military has a mortuary affairs department in each of its branches that takes care of all of the above. They coordinate the funeral services and memorials, the cremations or burial processes, the 21-gun salute and the honor guard presentation, the memorial services themselves, as well as the settlement of the service member's estate. This includes insurance and wills that are left with the family so that they have all the pieces in place in order to settle the estate. My resource was actually involved in all of the coordination for the memorial for Garrison. Now, what they told me may surprise you or may not surprise you, but what I want to point out is that it is an accusation. It is for entertainment and information purposes only. However, I did confirm they are a representative of the U.S. Armed Services and were tied to the event. So with all that in context, this is how the memorial for Garrison was built. All of this is coordinated by the mortuary services, which is located in Virginia. They are deployed when a service member passes away to coordinate the funeral or memorial service, depending on the place. The family has the option to either have the traditional military funeral, bury in the military cemetery, or opt for cremation and hold the funerals on their own. That is entirely up to the family. For Garrison's funeral, they respected his wishes to be cremated. There was no military funeral. For the memorial ceremony, the urn containing his body was passed on to Janelle and her sons, where it remained for the whole ceremony. But then came a point that got very intense. In the midst of all the preparations that were happening, the family began to learn that Cody wanted to follow the National Guard ceremony with cameras from TLC.
It was reportedly a family member, who was not a sibling or a child, that actually contacted Cody and expressed that he should not be coming and that they did not want any cameras there. They specifically did not want Robyn to come. Robyn and Garrison were already not getting along, my source continues. They wanted to honor his wishes as well. The reason for this was because Cody and Robyn were bullies of Garrison on the show. This has affected his mental health. He was also struggling with being ostracized and treated publicly. The last thing this family could do was add more pain. Cody didn't care about that. He was told that he could not come and that Robyn was not allowed either. So what happens? He shows up at the service with TLC. As the article reveals, the atmosphere in the room shifted as soon as they arrived. The air went out of the room, my source told me. Cody and Robyn, along with the cameras, acted as if they were celebrities, as show ponies, my source told me. They exuded this kind of bravado as if they were somehow better than the rest of the population, and this was very hurtful to the assembled crowd. Additionally, Cody and Robyn were already wired for taping when they arrived, which further enraged the family. They specifically wanted no taping to take place, partly because Garrison was reluctant to be on the program in general. He simply didn't like being on it. Now, though, he was being taped posthumously, which saddened everyone who knew him. The last text messages that Garrison sent were about the show. The family did not want the death of Garrison to be used for personal gain by Cody, and definitely not to have the story change from Garrison to Cody. Surprisingly, despite their reservations, TLC documented the memorial service. As soon as my source found out that Cody claimed he put them in the ground, he wanted to get one thing straight regarding Cody's claim of ownership to those ashes. He wouldn't have been able to put Garrison in the ground because Cody's name doesn't appear on Garrison's birth certificate. On the reality show, Janelle has said that Cody's name did appear on all the kids' birth certificates, but Cody's name doesn't appear on Garrison's. So as far as the law is concerned, he's not Garrett or Garrison's father. He could say whatever he wanted, but he might as well have been saying he thought he won the lottery, because as far as the law is concerned, he's got zilch. But as for the will, Cody was not mentioned at all. This is because Garrison had planned a will, giving his sister Janelle his power of attorney, allowing him to control his estate completely. Not that Cody would ever be mentioned in the insurance plan decision-making process or receive a single thing from the will, my source explained, that they would have relished seeing Cody's face when he finds that their names are not in his will. There is a level of pressure, however, in that Cody and Robyn would try to claim a portion of the estate, but of course, this plan was anticipated by Garrison. Thus, at least in this respect, there's a slight positive aspect to this situation. Although Garrison passed away so young, every aspect was planned for him. This made it easier for Janelle to handle, as she was able to take.
After the cremation process, the urn and the body were finally released to Janelle and her sons. They maintained custody throughout the memorial service. Then Cody and Robyn appeared along with the TLC crew, but no one spoke to them. However, the urn was still under their custody, but their presence made it very tense. But here's the most chilling bit. Cody had a purpose for being there, so claims my informant. The informant has no doubt that Cody has complete control over how the show on TLC is produced and what storylines are developed. He had plans to give himself a redemption story, to paint himself as a grief-stricken man and the family as hard-hearted and stubborn towards him and Robyn. The story was not meant as a tribute to Garrison. Instead, according to the informant, the purpose of the story was to incorporate Garrison's death in order for Cody to create drama. Robyn was there on the show too. It wasn't of her choice. She seems to disagree just as much as the family does. Thus, as per my source, Cody's primary intention in filming was to make an example out of the family, to present himself as the grieving father who has been estranged from his son, and to make out that his wife and his family have treated him and his wife cruelly. This is exactly why his family didn't want Cody and Robyn to be there in the first place. They wanted to respect Garrison's wishes to keep the spotlight on him and not to make a spectacle for purposes of a TV show. After he appeared with the cameras, there was nothing much that could be done, but not for persons who did not want to be videotaped or were not wired. Some females may have had contracts to honor, my source was not sure. However, another area of contention arose. Cody wanted to sit in the front row, right next to Janelle, so he could be front and center, just like the mourning father next to the mourning mother. However, the family said, no, they are not going to let them sit in front. So they moved Hunter, who was an Air Force officer, into the front row with Janelle, and Cody and Robyn had to sit in the back, continues Ben Steinbrecher, adding nobody wanted them in front. Mary was on the other side of the aisle with Gwendolyn and Bea, because Gwendolyn had asked for her to be there to support her. McKelty and Tony were on the other side too, although the source didn't know what for, only that Gwendolyn needed Mary there for company. During the service, the standard procedure was also followed. If the deceased was married, the wife was the one who received the flag and the medals. But if the deceased was single, then the flag and the... After the memorial service was concluded, the urn with the remains of Garrison was handed back over to Janelle and her sons. The urn was in no way Cody's legal property, any more than the flag itself, the medals, or the house. As my source tells me, after the memorial, when Cody and Robyn left, honestly, they don't know what planet or what must have been in order for Cody to have gotten this remains, or whether or not Garrison is indeed buried in Wyoming, or just sent a piece of what was in that urn, because they just completely blew their minds that he was out there talking about putting him in the ground when that wasn't what they agreed on when they talked with the family to coordinate things. The source thinks that this Wyoming story was probably spun after Cody didn't get his way at the memorial, basically making a storyline for television. That is, Cody, the grief-ridden father, embarking on a journey home for his son. However, the Cody and Robyn that television viewers saw, the ones acting like they're grieving for, acting like they care, are said to be nothing like the ones that attended the memorial service. The abundance was clearly for one thing. That family didn't want them there, wanting to honor the wishes of this other character, this other storyline instead. Most of the siblings never would speak to Cody. But as the news source reveals, Cody and Robyn were also in attendance for the purpose of profiting from this situation, taking advantage of it for the sake of gaining ratings and presenting themselves as playing the roles of the grieving father, Cody, and the suffering stepmother, Robyn. The news source went on to describe how they conducted themselves as if they were king and queen and no one else mattered. Some of Cody's family members would not speak to him due to his conduct. The point of the matter is that it seems as though Cody cares more about the facts that he can share on television as opposed to the facts of the situation. He also spoke of the offense the family was taken by Cody's statement about putting him in the ground. This was a very disrespectful gesture, not only to the family but to the wishes of Garrison himself. He had clearly stated his desire to be cremated. Cody had no right to go back on his wishes. He could only do so through trickery or force, which the family does not agree with. A military honor service was in line for Garrison because of his military background. To move on to better things, the source was actually very impressed with Mary and the kids. Contrary to how some members of this family might be shown on television, Mary was apparently kind, friendly, and very supportive, with the kids being courteous and cooperative too. It was Cody and Robyn, said the source, who were making all things about themselves, with no apparent respect for the family or the memory of Garrison. They also pointed out the seriousness that the staff behind the mortuary services have for their job. These individuals believe they should pay their respects to the family. Watching Cody did not respect his dad when he was alive, and now, after his death as well, he is disregarding the final wishes that his son had left behind. No cameras, no stepmother, and no father. It definitely appears as if a lot of the family doesn't want anything to do with the show, yet Cody keeps going forward with it. The insider thinks Cody is going to spin this story around for himself to make himself seem like the abused one, to appear as if he, along with his wife Robyn, is being abused in his family. However, this simply doesn't seem to be the case, according to the family. It's because he and his wife Robyn are disrupting and damaging their family dynamic through exploitation, because they have no actual connection to their family. The only reason they're showing up is because of the cameras. He cries in front of the cameras, he performs for the cameras, to no other end. He's completely out of touch with reality, out of touch with his own children and reality itself. The family's message to all of you is, don't be fooled, it's not true. Therefore, what are your thoughts? Let's share in the comments below. As has been mentioned, this point of view is speculative and intended only for entertainment purposes. Probably more importantly, never forget that service members are human beings first. Garrison's life was valuable. He was an individual who served his country, which means he was worthy to be honored in a decent manner. You cannot get to your commitment by neglecting your humanity. If you liked this video, please thumbs up it. Subscribe and press the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates. Thanks so much for viewing. Bye, guys.